Hitesh Shah, research analyst with IDFC, joins us now. Hitesh, morning. Thank you for joining us. What, in your mind, are the key highlights from Infosys Technologies when it comes to their quarterly performance? Hitesh?
I think while quarterly performance also was a little bit of a miss on a revenue number and on a volume growth as well. Though clearly, the focus this time would be on next year's guidance, which at 8 to 10% look little weaker than what market was building in. I would say, Infosys management would be little more conservative this time because they had to cut their guidance last fiscal year, and to that extent they would try and avoid that kind of a situation and guide conservatively, given that macro uncertainties have continued into FY13 as well. I would, from an year's perspective, I would still be a buyer of the stock or would recommend buying into the stock, but can't rule out, good 4-5% lower opening or, stock kind of correcting to those kind of levels.
Hitesh, I was just coming to that. What if the stock were to fall a good 4% like you're saying, or perhaps 8% for that matter? What would you do today? Is it going to be a buy on dips? What level is it that you're marking?
Yes, clearly it would be buy on dips. To me, 14 to 15 times whatever is their guided EPS for the next year kind of becomes a bottom for the stock from a next 6 to 12 months perspective. And to that extent, one would not expect the stock to fall significantly from here. Worst case, it could be as high as what you just mentioned, 8 to 10%. Though I would be little surprised if stock remains there for a long period of time. So I would be buyer on the dip even, at about 25-2600 levels as well.
Given the fact that what historically TCS as well as Cognizant have been delivering, it seems like, Infosys guidance is turning out to be more and more redundant with every quarter.
So yes, clearly Cognizant has, had a strong delivery track record from almost a decade, and they had been beating their Indian peers in terms of a revenue growth by 8 to 10% and sometimes even higher. Clearly they have, a sharper focus and, so much more exposure to healthcare, which is relatively non-discretionary kind of an, spend. Having said that, even TCS has done well over the last 2 years. But we believe that over the next 1 or 2 years, we would see the revenue growth rate from Infosys, TCS, Wipro converging. And we are kind of building in more like, low teens or low double digit, 12 to 14% kind of a revenue growth from all the top 4 players for FY13. And I think this year would be a year where, revenue growth, at least for the Indian listed players, would converge.
Hitesh, post Infosys FY13 guidance, what to your mind could be the new price range for Infosys?
So, in near term, we could still see Infosys kind of, be around 26 to 2800. But if you ask me, even now from an 12 to 15 months perspective, I think we should see stock closer to 3000, 3100 levels. Though till they come back with Q1 revenues and any revision to their full year guidance, I think the stock might remain between 2600 and 2800 and be largely market performer here.
So correct me if my interpretation is wrong. The signal which you are sending across is that despite a poor guidance at IDFC, you will not cut your price target for Infosys Technologies.
So you have to redo my numbers, and I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is from a 12 to 15 months perspective, the stock should be closer to between 3000 to 3100 level. Yeah.